This is Dr. Najam again with another talk today. And today we have with us Ramla Kaleem, the CEO of Aqua Agro. Ramla is an electronics engineer from NED University of Engineering and Technology. And one of the highlights of her career has been the conversion of her final year project into a product. The name of the company was Armaze, and we will mainly be focusing on the journey of Armaze today, what she went through, how did she convert the project into a product, and what marketing tactics did she use to get a few customers. इसके अलावा एक्वा एग्रो पे भी हम हल्का सा बात करेंगे फ्रॉम द पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू ऑफ मार्केटिंग, क्योंकि मार्केटिंग जब एक इंजीनियर मार्केटिंग सीखता है तो वो फिर चोट खा के ही सीखता है, क्योंकि उसने अपने डिग्री में तो नहीं पढ़ी होती। तो वो सब कुछ क्या है जो रमला ने सीखा वो इनसे हम आज पूछेंगे। मैं भी चाहूंगा रमला आप पहले थोड़ा सा अपना इंट्रोडक्शन करवा दीजिए, जो कुछ मैंने बताया, इन एडिशन टू दैट व्हाट आर योर सक्सेसेस, योर अचीवमेंट्स, एंड देन वील लाइक टू नो द जर्नी ऑफ आर्मेज इन फुल डिटेल, कि क्या क्या आपको दुश्वारियां आई, क्या क्या फायदे हुए, क्या क्या आपको आपने माइलस्टोन्स अचीव किए, और फाइनली फिर आप किस पॉइंट पे खड़ी हैं। And then the next part would be marketing strategy, generally speaking, for technology entrepreneurs in the context of Aqua Agro. Ji, over to you, please.
Thank you so much, Dr. Najam, for having me today. And just आपने बताया भी, I did my electronics engineering graduation from NED University back in 2017. And yes, surprisingly, being an engineer, I stepped into the business world, and more specifically the startup ecosystem. So starting off, how I began was turning a final year project into a commercialized product. So the idea, when we were as FYP students, we were searching for ideas that could be commercialized. We didn't want our FYP project to end up in library files. So there were different professors. Our mentor at that time, and still now, till date, is Dr. Mohammad Khurram, who gave us the idea. So we wanted to establish a laser tag manufacturing company. So it inspired us. We thought this could be done. As electronics engineering students, we thought this had the potential. It was a new thing at that time. We have laser tag setups currently in Pakistan in some places, but back in 2017, there were none actually. So we thought this could be a very new thing and appealing for the masses. So we did a lot of efforts into that, and we were afraid also, because we didn't know, okay, could we make a product that will actually be used in any sort of arena and actually be used as a gaming equipment. So there were a lot of tests and trials. So we were always ahead of our Gantt charts. You know, FYP students have to follow a Gantt chart. So when our demand was to make one prototype, we actually had to make 10 pieces of it. And coming to the market, that was actually required for the marketing perspective, because the game, for example, cannot be played with just one laser tag gun and a jacket. So to appeal and to actually tell the audience how the game would feel like, we made 10 units of it.
तो यहाँ पे एक चीज मैं आपसे पूछना चाहूंगा रमला, आपकी बातों से अंदाजा ये हो रहा है कि आपका FYP फाइनल होने से पहले ही आपके जहन में था कि आप इसको कमर्शियलाइज करेंगे, क्या ऐसा ही है?
Yes, and that is a very important key point, because as students, because in final year, I met Dr. Khurram, but initially also I was a part of NED Entrepreneurship Society, that is a society in NED, and I kept hearing different seminars, attending seminars, and I also joined the IBA Entrepreneurship for Engineers course at that time. That was all parallel, right? So all of that in a combination helped us to, you know, actually commercialize. But yes, we did. And we did have this understanding before selecting the FYP that we have to choose something that we have to commercialize in the end.
Great. So what happens next?
So yes, about the journey, how we did is we had to actually make different prototypes. The first prototype that we made, we exhibited in the exhibition that happens in the end of the Entrepreneurship for Engineers course. So after that, we received some feedback. We understood that the gun has to be, you know, a little more better. The jacket has to be better. And coming towards the final, I mean, I think it was like around July, August, that we thought that we can engage the market by holding and arranging a demo session. So we planned for a demo session, and what we did at that time is sent out emails, random emails. So we were like shooting in the air. We didn't know we would get a response. We found out contacts. We didn't actually have, none of us personally had any contacts with these owners of big places, um, arena type places. So we just generally send out emails, and surprisingly, we received a response, from one of the marketing managers of Arena, and he said that I would like to attend your show. So we were really surprised and excited. So we did everything we could manage to actually, make it attractive for him. We held that game, and when he attended it, so the show was good, and then the deal started on. So it didn't finalize, it didn't close right at that moment. It didn't close at that moment, but eventually, for example, I remember that by November we had the deal in our hands. He wanted the shape of the gun to be a more realistic, because at that time we just used toy guns, but the deal was done. And that was actually the starting point of getting it into the real game.
Right. So the main approach of marketing that I see in your explanation is कि आपने random emails throw की different contacts के ऊपर. So और उसी में से आपको response आया, and that was the triggering point. तो उसके बाद से फिर आपने काम करना शुरू किया. इसके अलावा did you attend any other exhibitions, any other conferences apart from E4E exhibition जिससे आपको कुछ leads मिली हो?
Yes, before throwing those emails, actually, to the students, I would tell that you need to do your homework. For example, if you're going to market something, you actually need to have your product ready. You cannot show your project in bits and pieces, for example, wires hanging all around and battery supply not properly connected. It has to be in proper shape before you're actually showing it to the customer. So the homework was done. That is what we did well as engineers. And also we had done some marketing videos. For example, before sending out the email was not just we have this and we want you to come and see. We sent along good short videos along with that email, and the videos were shot inside the, for example, NAD ground. And we also had, there was a, if we were talking about exhibitions, there used to be an exhibition named Envision in NAD University. So we also took permission there, and we had a little game around, and we made different videos and different, things to actually show any person what it is about.
इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि before you contact your first customer, you should have some precedent available. You should have some marketing material available before you start doing that marketing. अच्छा, मैं एक स्टेप और पीछे जाता हूँ, क्योंकि मैं ये समझता हूँ कि बच्चों के लिए जानना ज़रूरी है कि करने में तो आपने 5 मिनट में बता दिया, लेकिन इसके बीच जो एफर्ट इन्वॉल्व थी, खासतौर से प्रोटोटाइपिंग के अंदर. तो प्रोटोटाइपिंग के हवाले से हम बात करेंगे. लेट मी शेयर विद यू अ स्टोरी. सो देयर इज दिस कंपनी कॉल्ड डायसन in UK. Richard Dyson is the inventor, and when he was creating his Hoover, जो कि आपके आमतौर से carpets के लिए यूज होता है, he came up with a new technology, and he himself said that I made 5,000 prototypes before the final product came out and got commercialized. अपना जर्नी प्रोटोटाइपिंग का थोड़ा सा बताएं कि what were the steps and what hurdles did you face, and how many prototypes do you make before you finalize the product?
Okay, so that's a very interesting question, especially for students who are prototyping. I remember the first one was a simple toy gun, right? So even it was a toy gun, and we made a 3D printed box. So we were lucky enough to have a 3D printing machine in our lab. We made a small 3D printed box and fit it inside all of our circuitry and everything, right? And we thought initially that this is how we'll go about it. So we made that, we made a jacket, and we fitted the circuitry inside that as well. And we first presented, the first of our presentations was in the exhibition of the final, round of entrepreneurship engineers course. So we were there, and we got the feedback then that, for example, this box is not going to be very durable, because children and like teenagers are going to play very roughly with it. So we didn't receive good feedback. So after that, we decided that somehow the circuitry should fit inside the gun and not in some outside box. So we tried to find a gun, a shape of the gun that, we could fit the circuitry inside, and then we found it. So even after that, there were like 2-3 prototypes before we showed the gun to this arena management.
Mm-hmm.
And then what he requested was fourth version. And we went to make 2 more versions of the gun. So feedback is very important in prototyping. We make something, and I think we cannot always know the perfect thing from the beginning. We have to try what we know and then see if it works or not, then tailor it, pivot it. So I think even before our first prototype exhibition, we had done like 2-3 prototypes very easily.
अच्छा, एक क्वेश्चन अमूमन जो टेक्नोलॉजी एंटरप्रेन्योर्स हैं उनके इन्वेंशंस में ये आता है कि what is the right time at which they think now we can deploy the product in the market. कभी कभार वो सोचते हैं कि यार अभी इसमें ये ट्वीक रहती है, नहीं यार ये चीज सही नहीं है, इसको मैं सही कर लूँ, ये गड़बड़ कर रही है. There's a book called Lean Startup, and the author talks about the same thing. And he says that you don't have to actually complete the product 100%. You have to think of a point in time where you can launch the beta version. And the beta version is necessary because you want to get the market feedback. And it's basically the consumers, the customers who are going to define what features need to be in the product. Although you have an understanding, but there could be a possibility customers require something different. So in that context, did you think when you were launching the product that it wasn't 100% ready?
I think we knew that it is not very, like we had our doubts, of course, because we made it. So we were like wondering whether it will be durable. And your question about, okay, what product stage should we actually show to the customer? It depends. For example, there are different versions of prototype. For example, as electronics engineering students, for example, it could be a circuit board, just a circuit board. And what it is doing is that it is, throwing out, for example, whatever light rays we're using and then receiving the circuit. And that kind of a prototype is enough to get feedback from your mentor or your external advisor or your course advisor, right? That is also a prototype that you're actually getting market feedback, but it's a different kind of a market, that's enough. But those not enough to show, some arena kind of management. So we need to know and so even, for example, we got market feedback in steps. For example, first our project advisors, then our friends, university friends, then our relatives. So that was how it was done in steps, and we kept getting that feedback in the exhibition. Like I told you, that was not a perfect box, right? But that helped us. But those were like they were not really critics, right? So they gave us valuable feedback. So it's like in steps. So, but it's not that, okay, you don't show a very good thing to your final customer, but you should not like go in wires or batteries not fitted properly and things like that.
Okay, let's come to the implementation now. So a stage came where you found the client, and उसके बाद फिर agreement हो गया, contract हो गया, and then the implementation got started. अब ये implementation का जर्नी थोड़ा सा बताएं, क्योंकि जहन में कुछ होता है जब आप करने जाएं तो आपको बहुत से सरप्राइजेस मिलते हैं. अक्सर ऐसा होता है कि आपने इमेजिन नहीं किया होता कि यूजर इसको किस तरह से यूज करेगा. आपने तो क्योंकि इट्स अ बेबी, तो आपने उसे बहुत डेलिकेटली बनाया है और आराम से इस्तेमाल किया है. लेकिन जब वो एक आम पब्लिक के हाथ में जाता है तो देयर इज अ रीजन व्हाई आवर ग्लासेस आर चेन्ड इन पब्लिक. सही है, वो पाकिस्तान के अंदर आपको ग्लास हमेशा बंधा हुआ नजर आता है कूलर से. देयर इज अ रीजन फॉर दैट. तो अपना एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करें कि जब आपने डिप्लॉय किया है इसको मार्केट में, तो आपको किस किस्म का रिएक्शन मिला और क्या सरप्राइजेस मिले कि जो कि उन लोगों के लिए जानना अच्छा होगा जो कि अभी जिन्होंने इम्प्लीमेंटेशन स्टार्ट नहीं की. जी.
Yes, so as I already told that they requested a different kind of a shape of a gun, right? So our guns previously that we made were like yellow and blue in color, and they had this toy look. and they wanted like actual military type guns. So we had to do a good amount of research into finding the right kind of a gun. We had very limited amount of time. For example, they asked us to make it in November, from November, and they wanted the order in January. So we had 2 months, and we had our exams in between as well. So, but yes, we found that gun luckily, and then we made the fitting inside. And even after that, even after we delivered our order, there were certain things that we could not previously comprehend. For example, the jacket that we made that was to receive, the gunshots, we had the LED indications. We had some health life indications in that. So the LED indications were in the stomach area. For example, when you wear the jacket, it's in the stomach area. We didn't comprehend before, but when the people were playing with that jacket, so when they used to sit and bend on their knees and everything, the wires were actually breaking. Right, because it was in the lower portion of the jacket. So that was our learning after the game that happened. So in the next version of the jackets, we fitted that entire circuitry on the top, near the chest. So this is what happened. So even in the guns, for example, we gave a function of reloading the gun, right? Initially, okay, for example, when your shots expire, you're going to reload the gun. But we noticed that the people were playing it with it so roughly that it was better not to give them that feature, because they were like almost mishandling it. So there were different things that we realized afterwards, right? And one very interesting feature was that we never imagined that people are going to play with the gun using their one hand. It's unsafe, there are more chances of breakage. So in the next versions of the guns, we also gave a trigger button near the front of the gun, so that the player would press that button and keep it with two hands, and operate it with two hands. So these were the kinds of functionalities we later on integrated in our equipment after learning from the experiences in the actual game field.
Excellent. So we normally study these things under the heading of user innovation. So users define how you have to innovate your product and make it suitable for their use. So you have had a practical experience. Excellent. So let's move forward. What happened after that? How did you get the second customer? And what is the condition now? So how is it still being played in arena? How is it going on? And what do you see? Do you see any other customers coming in? What is the future?
Okay, so the second customer, so afterwards we had this success in arena. We obviously wanted to, reach more play areas and things like that. So we went everywhere. I mean, we were 4 girls. This was an all-girl project. But we obviously, mentioning that, I have to mention the support we got from the boys of our class, our mentors, the people in our lab. They were really supportive. And that's why we were able to do it. So, but the second order, when we got that, it was remote. For example, it was out of Karachi. It was in Jhelum. There was a battlefield Jhelum was the name. And we had to send our equipment through courier, right? So that was a good deal. But the challenge we faced in that deal was that, you see, we knew how to play the game. We had this idea that we wanted to make something as realistic to games like Counter-Strike or everything, right? So we knew that there need to be strategies. We were also making things like a hand grenade or a health kit or things like that, or a time bomb. But what challenge we faced was that the people there were not as passionate. They were not as passionate as us, so they were not able to run it like we would if it was in our hands. So because it was remote and we did not have any part in operations, we realized that we're not just a manufacturing company, we also have to be an operations company later on if we want to run the business, because the other party who may take the equipment from you may not do so well in operating it because they don't really, see the passion in it or see the possibilities that, the game can turn into.
Excellent. So, what do you see as the future of RMAs? Are you still trying to get more customers, or you're now focused on some other stuff?
Yes, so after the second experience that we had, we really tried hard to actually own or somehow manage a gaming facility, right? So that's an entirely different, for example, business, because it's one thing to make the equipment as engineers, but it's an entirely different thing to actually run a facility, run an entertainment facility. So we didn't really have the funds to, for example, own a gaming place. We searched a lot of places. We wanted to have, for example, 1,000 square yards place where we could set up our arena and, run the operations as well. So that was the challenging part that we couldn't at that time cover up. And that was the thing. The other thing was that the market was niche, right? So yes, one customer, Arena, did buy the equipment from us, but there were not many customers that run these kinds of places. So even in Karachi, we don't really have entertainment spots. We don't have things like that, and we don't have ones that are willing to take risks. That is also a thing, especially in Pakistan, because the product is new, the team is new. So somehow these people that are business giants, they're not really willing to take that risk of supporting new innovation. So that was our second challenge that we faced. So the only way to run this smoothly or have next steps, or when we try to, for example, continue this, we would want to not only make the equipment, but we would also want to run the operations. And that is how both combined can actually make it work.
Right. So, what's the future? Are you trying to get more customers, or you're focusing on some other ventures now?
Okay, so yes, after RMAs, I am I'm now currently CEO of Aqua Agro. So that is a priority right now, because we do try different things, but we have to see what is more important. So considering the situation of the water crisis we have, the agriculture sector problems and everything, so Aqua Agro somehow became the priority of the time, right? And we are focused on that for now, but this is not like something for example, when we find out an opportunity, we would definitely want to try this up. For example, I think last year we also arranged a game in Dreamworld.
Right.
So Dreamworld, yes, so this happens. Dreamworld, we contacted back when we were searching for customers, but they approached us a year after.
Okay.
Yes, so they approached us a year after, and even then, the equipment we had in our lab, we had it prepared with us. So we just tailored it. They wanted to actually customize it in the format of PUBG, which was very popular game,
Yes.
at the time. So we tailored it according to their demand. So we did have a one day game at Dreamworld. So the business model at that point was rental. This is also a way we can proceed. For example, we have the equipment we can offer. If we are not setting up, for example, an entire gaming facility, we can offer it for rentals. So that option is there. And in the future, if we want to really enhance this, so we would really like to run the operations as well and bring in more stuff into it. As I say, that we want to replicate games and more features in that, and create missions out of it, so that it is new every time.
So,
We
what's
wanted to
the
give it a
status?
feeling of being new.
Excellent. So, what's the status now? Are they still running there in the Arena and Jahannam?
I think they're not running it right now, because it has been, I think, 2-3 years. They were having some problems again in operations, and in Jahannam as well. But DreamWorld was again interested. They contacted me in March as well. But even in, I think in that time, at that time, we were occupied with, so we decided not to, sometimes we have to make and choose our priorities, what is more important at the time.
Of course, yes.
Yes.
Excellent. So that was our maze for you. Now let's move on to a general topic of marketing of technology ventures. So you've had experience of two technology ventures, one RMAze, and the second one is now, mashallah, you're the CEO of Equa Agro. So what tips would you like to give? Or maybe in the sense of what hardships did you face, which made you learn, of course, a few things about marketing a technology venture. So explain in detail with your experience through your maybe interaction with people, and maybe you might have also understood that these are the top three tools for marketing a technology venture, and these four are not that good according to your experience. So give a detailed account of marketing for technology ventures.
Yes, so that it becomes different when you're marketing a technology venture, and it becomes, a different, for example, ball game when we are marketing something that is new. The market is not willing to accept anything that is being given to them for the first time. Yes, they want a lot of reassurances, they want to have trust. So one thing that I would say is very key is that you need to be able to build trust. Yes, so the customers actually are sure that what they're getting for the amount they're paying is actually worth it. So in AquaAgro as well, that is a key challenge. AquaAgro is different. It's a lot different from RMAze, because RMAze we were targeting the urban sector. Yes, so the urban sector is considered to be more literate. AquaAgro we are targeting farmers. So there's a lot of awareness gap. They're not literate. They know almost nothing about technology. So when you're switching and when you're trying to introduce a technology venture to the agriculture sector, that is not even like, they don't have basic literacy. That's a very big challenge. So there are different kinds of marketing strategies. If I talk about AquaAgro more because we're trying different things here. So what we have realized that Pakistani nation is a trend follower. So in AquaAgro, what we're trying to do is we're trying to target some major influential farmers that are known and respected for being good, and the rest of the farm, when they do something, it's also everybody knows. You don't have to market it afterwards. For example, there's a farmer who's very famous in an area. He uses some new kind of equipment, so all the farmer community will know about it. And if his feedback is good about it, the others are more likely to adopt it. So that is a different kind of strategy that we are applying. And without that, if you're not having examples, then no matter how much you make the other farmer, you make great videos, you make a great website, and everything is perfect, the farmer is not going to trust you. So they trust their own kind of people. That's a difference that I have learned from these two startups.
तो आपकी बातों से ये लगता है कि शायद सोशल मीडिया या डिजिटल मार्केटिंग, जिसको बहुत ही इफेक्टिव समझा जाता है, इस फील्ड के अंदर शायद इतनी इफेक्टिव नहीं है. व्हाट डू यू से?
In this field, for example, in agriculture, yes, for example, we do post a lot of videos on social media. We are part of groups that are, that have this agriculture community, that surround this agriculture community. They ask a lot of questions, but they're not actually going to buy it unless they hear it from someone they know. And or if someone does buy it, so it's very difficult to build their trust. They're going to visit our office first, they're going to request for a demo device and things like that. So that is a challenge because they want to actually, feel it first.
Right. So इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि maybe a very useful strategy for you could be to find an influencer in an area. So you go to a village, some kind of town, and find a person who is popular enough to market your product. So if you convince that person for the use of your device, that is maybe going to multiply the results once he or she starts using it. Excellent. So which means that we can maybe conclude that the most useful marketing channel for you in this case is personal visits and actually deployment of the product itself. As soon as it gets deployed, the results are out, then people start trusting you.
Yes, and one thing that we came up with, because we have been like doing this for some time, so we cannot like do it based out of Karachi, right? We need to have some person in the field, you know, that represents us. So we have signed into distributorship agreement, and we have some dealers in Sindh, and we gave them demo devices to set up in their shops. And those are basic shops where farmers are getting their pesticides, fertilizers from. So they have just, you know, placed their device in a pot or something, and they can just see it through the app. They water it, they see the soil moisture. So the more effective strategy for Ecoagro is setting up experience centers, basically. You know, we see experience centers of Huawei in, for example, this mall. So these are the experience centers that farmer goes in, sees the product himself, and that is what is going to build his trust more. Every farmer, most of the farmers want request that, is it installed somewhere near where I can go and see? That's their first question. And because the agricultural landscape is so big, it's not possible for us to have a device installed, you know, in so many areas. So that's one challenge that we have currently.
All right, so एक क्वेश्चन मेरा एक और मार्केटिंग चैनल से रिलेटेड होगा. हम ये देखते हैं अक्सर, आपने तो फोर्स एक्सपीरियंस नहीं किया होगा, लेकिन जो लड़के मोटरसाइकिल चलाते हैं उन्होंने देखा है कि कभी हेलमेट के ऊपर सख्ती ज़्यादा हो जाती है, कभी वो रिलैक्स हो जाते हैं, कभी बिल्कुल ही गायब हो जाता है हेलमेट. और अमूमन देखा ही गया है कि उनका कहना है, मतलब इट्स एन स्पेकुलेशन, ऑफ कोर्स देयर इज नथिंग ट्रू अबाउट दिस, लेकिन वो स्पेकुलेशन ये कहती है कि जब भी कोई इन्फ्लुएंशियल गवर्नमेंट के अंदर अपना कोई हेलमेट्स का कंटेनर इंपोर्ट करता है तो वो गवर्नमेंट रेगुलेशंस भी इंपोज करवाता है ताकि उसके हेलमेट बिकना शुरू हो. So the reason why I'm talking about that is because maybe one of the marketing channels for you could be a government official, a government organization which has the authority of regulating and maybe making it mandatory for the farmers to use these kind of devices. So have you tried to go to that way? Have you tried to utilize that channel?
Frankly speaking, we haven't, not like we haven't thought about making it mandatory or some kind of, you know, a compulsory for the farmers, because we understand that there are farmers that are not very, you know, they don't have a very high income. So obviously there is a very diverse market. There are some farmers that are like landlords that have, you know, big acres of lands, you know, thousands of acres. It's easier for them to afford the device. So I think, for example, even if the government says that you have to actually buy it, it's mandatory, that will be an additional cost for the poor income farmer who is not able to, you know, like cover up his expenses. So our actually vision is that we want to reduce the costs, the input cost of the farmers, and increase his profit margins. So what we can, like what we have done differently is we're trying to like build the trust of the farmer that this is eventually going to help you reduce your cost and increase your profit margins, you know, because previously we have experienced better crop yield, saving water, especially the farmers that use tube wells. The tube wells run on diesel or petrol or electricity, so that is going to save them the cost, like that. But yes, we have tried to approach the government officials as well. We were selected among the 10 startups that were invited to the PM house. But again, yes, because the things take time, and we are hoping to hear something from them back. And we are in talks with some of the officials, with people who are into this thing and trying to bring change in the agriculture sector. So hopefully things will, you know, be better, because this is really important for the agriculture sector. Our agricultural area is really neglected, and it's very, very far behind.
So I think the most effective and I think useful channel of marketing for you could be again going this direction. So one of the things that you said कि हम चाहते हैं कि cost reduce करें और एक poor farmer के ऊपर ज़्यादा load ना डालें. So you can actually set up a limit of ownership of land. So you might say anybody who owns more than 500 acres of land is going to have to use that device. So government may actually put up that regulation. As far as contacting the government officials is concerned, I think one of the best channels for you could be the vice chancellor of NAD at the moment. I think that could be one of the most effective marketing channel for you to try. I mean, I कहते हैं ना आजमाइश शर्त है, तो ये entrepreneurship से ज़्यादा और किसी फील्ड के अंदर ये चीज़ फिट नहीं बैठती कि आजमाइश शर्त है, आपको भी try करना है. So excellent. In the last 5 minutes, so it's 3:55. मैं ये चाहूँगा कि आप I think you've spent 3 to 4 years now in the field of entrepreneurship. तो कुछ ना कुछ एक्सपीरियंस आपने, कुछ ना कुछ टिप्स ऐसी आप सीख गए होंगी जो कि आप चाहेंगे कि शेयर करें अपने जैसे बडिंग एंटरप्रेन्योर्स के लिए, वो लोग जो अभी मे बी थर्ड ईयर ऑफ इंजीनियरिंग के अंदर हैं. क्योंकि मेरा ख्याल है, आई मीन इफ आई हैड एनीथिंग टू डू विद FYPs in any university or in any other technology university, I would start the process from the mid of the third year. क्योंकि ये वो पॉइंट है जहां से आपको सोचना शुरू कर देना है, या फिर इवन फ्रॉम द बिगिनिंग ऑफ द थर्ड ईयर कि मुझे क्या करना है, क्या सी कमर्शियल वैल्यू हो सकती है, ज्यादा प्रायोरिटी उन प्रोजेक्ट्स को दी जाए जिनकी कमर्शियल वैल्यू है. तो मैं चाहता हूँ आप थोड़ी सी टिप्स दें उन बच्चों को जो कि अभी थर्ड ईयर के अंदर हैं, अभी वो FYP चूज करने जा रहे हैं. व्हाट काइंड ऑफ FYP शुड दे बी चूजिंग एंड व्हाट शुड बी देयर अप्रोच, व्हाट शुड बी देयर माइंडसेट व्हेन दे ट्राई टू चूज द FYP? जी.
So that's a very good question. I think the earlier you start, the better. You're saying that we should start from the third year is great for the students who are already in graduation. But frankly speaking, my little brother has just done his college, and I advised him that he should use his 2 years of college because students tend to get more time. Mm-hmm. into making different things and trying different approaches and understanding what it's about. So I think yes, third year is a key time when the students who are actually interested in building products that can be commercialized, they should do it, because it is going to take time, because the thing that students need to understand, and being in the ecosystem, yes, it has been 3 to 4 years. What I've realized is it's not going to be an overnight success. It's not going to, like, you may not be able to just build a $1 billion company in 1 year or 2 years. So if you really want to be in the startup ecosystem, you should have a plan for next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, or so on. So it's not going to happen very early, because you're trying to make something that is new, that nobody has ever done before. You're trying to get examples from other people, and especially us Pakistanis, because our previous generations, or we don't have like a lot of examples, and now we are getting some, which is a very good news. But we are still behind from places that are like Silicon Valley or things like that. So students should know that it's going to be a time-taking thing. They should have this patience, and they should keep on trying. And for example, when I was doing RMAs, it was like everything to me. I did not want it to fail, because I was so afraid of it. I didn't want it. I used to like get up at nights or things like that. I did not want my team to go away. But what I realized, that if you want to do it, you will find another opportunity, you will find another team, you can again stand up on your feet, and that should be your thing. You should not you should be able to stand with failures, and that is one very, very key point. Us students, we always want to get the right answer. We have this mentality from the start, from the schooling system, that we want to get the answer right, and if we don't, we fail, then we get depressed and things like that. So you have to be willing to accept failures, learn from them, and do better. So yes, third year mid is the right time to start. You have to find ideas that can be commercialized. it's better to get to work on ideas that don't involve a lot of third parties. For example, you want to commercialize something that involves the government. You have a very great product. For example, it is for the power sector of our country. You know, it's amazing, it's great. But if it is going to involve the government sector or some very big organization for it to get implemented, then you know that is going to be very, very hard.
Right.
So try to, in the start, try to see things or make things that depend largely on you and your effort. You know, so the less they depend upon organizations that are big and everything, so the more chances are for you to get them commercialized.
वेरी ट्रू. तो डिपेंडेंस कम से कम रखें, इंडिपेंडेंटली काम करें, एंड देन अ टाइम माइट कम जहाँ पे आप जो है वो ट्रिपल हीलिक्स मॉडल के तहत जो है वो गवर्नमेंट को भी इन्वॉल्व करें, इंस्टीट्यूशंस को भी इन्वॉल्व करें, इंडस्ट्री को भी इन्वॉल्व करें और इनोवेशन लेके आए. Thank you very much, Ramla, for your time. It was an excellent talk. I hope we keep talking in the future. I hope you reach new milestones in Equa Agro. और फिर हम उस हवाले से बात करें. Thank you very much for your time and Allah Hafiz.
Thank you so much, Sir Najam, for having me. It was a really nice experience. I hope we talk again soon. Thank you.
We will. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.